Hi. In my previous session, I have covered how to create the SQL Server Database project using the Visual Studio. So in order to create the SQL Server Database project using Visual Studio, you need SQL Server Database tools. If you are using Visual Studio 2017, you need to install the 2017 version of SQL Server Database tools. So say if you are using SQL Server Database, if Visual Studio 2019, then you need 2019 version of SQL Server Database tools. So we covered how to create a database project. So if you are creating tables, views, functions, stored procedures, so create the respective folders and create the tables. You create the post deployment and keep the the static file to deploy the master data during the database project execution. So as part of this session, let's talk about how to automate the SQL database deployment using the Microsoft release management, which is CI and CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. So if you have not watched my previous videos on the YouTube channels, I'm actually making the videos on which I'm covering the ASP, creating the ASP.NET website and ASP.NET Web API, ASP.NET Core Web API, and then deploying the Web API and the website to the Azure cloud, and creating the release management using Microsoft Release Management in the VSTS. So you will see all these videos in my YouTube channel. Let's get started with automating the SQL deployment using the dacpak deployment. So when you create a project like this, so this is my real project. So I have project built for the Book My Taxi. I've created the database and I have all these SQL objects. So when I go to the when I build the project, I will be getting the dacpak file in the bin folder. So this dacpak file is what I'm going to use as part of the Microsoft release management release pipeline for deploying to the SQL Server database. So one of the important things before you start deploying or making this automating this as part of the release is the target platform. So make sure that you select the correct target platform. So I have selected the Microsoft Azure SQL Server Database V12 because I'm planning to deploy this SQL Server Database to the Azure cloud. If you are planning to deploy this to the SQL Server 2016, you select this to the SQL Server 2017, then you select SQL Server 2017. So make sure that you select the right target platform. Once this is selected and once the project is building, so you know the source code location. So go to the VSTS, assuming that you have access subscription or access to the VSTS in order to build the build and release definitions for the dacpak files. So go to the release definition. So here, if you click on the release definition, and then let me explain what I have already created instead of building runtime to save some time. So edit the existing release build definition, and then see how to create a task for database project. So what we need is we need a copy file task. So if you click on new task, then if you search for copy files, so this is the copy file task. So select the copy file task and select the target task version. So the latest version I have selected, which is 2. Then name appropriately so that you can see it in the task. Then source contents are dacpak. So as I mentioned, when you build the code for the SQL database project, you will see the dacpak file. So this contains all the SQL objects, SQL tables, SQL stored procedure, SQL scripts, post deployment, and static data, everything. So make sure that you select the dacpak file here, and this is the syntax for selecting the dacpak file. And the target folder in the artifacts, when you copy the dacpak file, I'm actually creating the target file. So I've given the DB. So this is the build artifacts directory /DB. You go to the advanced, you can clean target folder, overwrite, and then enable the task. So these are the basic things required for copy file task. And if you build the solution, so let me select one of the already built solution. Now this build is successful. If you go to the artifacts, select the artifacts folder, and then you will be able to see DB folder which has been created. Inside the DB I have database, so same as the folder structure inside your when you compile it. So I have a release and I have a dacpak file created here. So in the artifacts now the dacpak file is available. I'm going to use that already built dacpak file in the release definition. So let's select the release definition. So I selected the release definition from here, one of the release definitions. And so let's select the release definition. This is my release definition. Click on edit. Click on the task for the development. So these are all the Azure deployments for creating Azure resources, the .NET Core deployment, and the SQL deployment. So the task which we need to add to the existing release definition is Azure SQL dacpak task. So when you search from here, when you click on new add task and search the task Azure SQL dacpak, you will be able to add it. So what is the information we need to add here is, so you can give the appropriate name and Azure Resource Manager. Select the resource connection type Azure Resource Manager, and select the appropriate subscription where you want to deploy. Then you have to select the deployment type is the SQL dacpak file, and it should be the publish and dacpak file path. You can be able to select the dacpak file path from here, and then the firewall, if there is anything, you can select. So this is how we select the dacpak file, drop folder, DB, so database, bin, release, and the dacpak file. So once you select that, delete rule after task ends and enable the task. So in the database, you need to provide the SQL Server authentication. So in order to connect to my SQL Server in Azure, I have a database server name, database name. So these are the environment variables I have specified, username, password. Everything is in the release variables. If you go to the variables, you have database name, username, password, server name. So all that is encrypted here. You will not be able to see the password, username, etc. here. So all that is encrypted. So this is the dacpak file task. So as part of the CI/CD, the database project will be built as part of the release definition, copies in the DB folder the dacpak file, and this particular task picks the dacpak file from that particular folder and deploy it to the Azure SQL Server. So all these connections I have given. So let's go to the SQL Server now. Let's say this is my SQL Server and this is my SQL database. If I go to the database, let's say here, go to the database, then so let's say if I want to see my database tables here, query editor, select the query editor. You have a SQL authentication. This is my login. Let's say enter the password. Once I enter the password, I should be able to connect to the SQL Server. So assume that the SQL database is deployed as part of the CI/CD. Now I have connected to the SQL Server. So these are my tables, views, stored procedure deployed as part of the CI/CD. Then let's start from, let's say, one of the tables, booking confirm. Run the query. When you run the query, so I should be able to see the SQL query as part of this window. So this is how we create the SQL. This is how we automate the SQL deployments. As I mentioned, I'm also covering a bunch of other videos on Azure Cloud and deployment, CI/CD, creating Azure resources and automating the Azure resources. All this for you. Can look into my YouTube channel for more information on this. I hope this automating the SQL Server Database deployment session helps for your project. Thank you very much.